Listen, a lot of us real men out here, we want to be the best version of ourselves for y'all, the best man that we can possibly be for y'all, if y'all got a family, for the family, and for us in general. But this one thing I'm gonna talk about today is something that a lot of us struggle with, most of us struggle with, and everyone knows about, and that is communication. So in today's video, I'm gonna give y'all a heads up because, as you know, on this channel I'll talk about understanding the mind of men, understanding the mind of solid, decent, good men. But a lot of us struggle with this one thing. Doesn't mean that we're bad men. It's just a thing with us, all right? A lot of us. Sometimes it's deep rooted, sometimes it's out of stubbornness, sometimes it's out of ego. But for whatever the reason is, I'm going to give y'all the signs that you are dealing with, that you are with a guy, a man, a boyfriend, a husband, whatever, who struggles with communication. All right, so before I start, make sure y'all follow, subscribe, like, comment. Tell me if y'all have gone through any of those things I'm going to talk about in this video. And as always, thank you for coming back to my videos and checking your guy Sealz the Man out. So let's get to it. The first thing I want to talk about, the first sign I want to talk about that men struggle with communication, and it is a sign that you should recognize and detect, is a man who only uses body language to talk to you. Now, don't get me wrong, body language is a form, a branch of communication, but it should not be the main form of communication. Because as humans, we have these things called mouths, and we use these things to speak. And it is our main source of communication. So therefore, we have to learn how to utilize, how to master this thing that God gave us to talk and communicate to you. But it's crazy because a lot of us men struggle with that thing. So if your man is quick to say, then it is most likely because he does not know how to formulate words to express how he truly feels on the inside. A man who struggles with communication is going to use everything but words, everything but sentences, especially with the difficult conversations. And in most cases, this leads to misunderstandings, arguments, and to a lot of women shows that you don't care enough or that you don't care at all. In a lot of cases, that is not the case, but he struggles with communication. So once again, any man that uses body talk to talk to you is most likely struggling with communication. Let's go to the next thing. The next sign that your man is struggling with communication and communicating with you is a man who does not listen. A man who has difficulty listening to the words that are coming out your mouth. Shout out to Chris Tucker. And this is important and essential because communication is a two-way street. It is not just about one person talking. It is not about just people talking. It's also about listening. Because how can words be received if you don't listen, if you don't accept the things that you are told? If you do not listen to the words that are being told to you, then it is a dead end, a one-way street. Because in order to have healthy communication, I have to bounce back off of what you've given me, and vice versa. And now we have a dialogue. Now it's going back and forth. Now this is what I call communication. A man who struggles with listening is easily distracted as well. You'll be talking to the dude and it seems like his eyes are everywhere but yours. His eyes are everywhere but trained on you. Sometimes that's not done purposefully. Sometimes that is literally what he knows and how he reacts to certain situations when it comes to communicating. A lot of men struggle with this. And I understand, it's hard not to take this personally. But most times it is not personal. A lot of times it's because he knows no better. He doesn't know how to properly listen, therefore he does not know how to properly communicate. Also, if your man is struggling with listening, it may seem like he's disinterested. Because with listening, you have to, or you should reply. With listening, you should bounce back. With listening, I can feedback off of what you've given me. But if I'm not listening, then most likely I'm not going to give you any kind of good reply or any reply at all. What's the point of communicating if you're not going to say nothing back to me or say anything worthy back to me, right? That's what communication is all about. Let's go to the next thing. The next sign that your man is struggling with communication, which is avoidance. If your guy always runs away from the tough conversations, if your man always tries to escape any conversation with you, if your dude struggles with staying in the moment when you are having a conversation, he is most likely struggling with communication. It's like Prison Break. Every time you talk to him or bring up something, it's like he's trying to find a way to escape. He does not want to enter into this purgatory, this verbal purgatory that you are about to bestow upon his head. And oh man, don't let you be emotional and trying to strike a conversation with him at the same time. Now he's running for the hills. These type of dudes who are trying to dodge the words that are coming out your mouth, they look at them like bullets. They are not trying to have no smoke with real talk from you. Now, not only is this type of man struggles with communication, but he may also be struggling with learning how to react to different type of conversations. Because communication, especially for some people, is very difficult because you have to learn how to talk to not only different types of communication or different types of conversations, but you got to learn how to talk to different types of people. Not everyone is the same type of person. Everyone is unique. Therefore, you cannot say the same blanket things to everybody and expect the same results. Just because Sally likes a certain way how you talk does not mean Deborah likes it that way. Communication is difficult in that part because you have to learn how to adapt and be able to convey your message without diluting yourself. So with all that thought about, a lot of people, and in this video, men, want to avoid all of that because they are nervous about trying to do all those things. They do not want to partake in that much exertion of mental energy and emotional energy. So you'll catch a lot of men avoiding conversations, especially the tough ones, because they do not know how to properly communicate with their loved one and their woman. The next sign that your man may be struggling with communication is based on his past experiences with communicating, and that is misunderstanding what he's saying. Every man is different. Every man is unique, just like everyone else. But that also means some people just think differently. Some men just think abstractly. Some men do not think the way you think. And I am one of those dudes. Growing up, I've always had an artistic and abstract mind. I always think outside the box. Therefore, I always meant good when I communicated, but a lot of people didn't understand what I was saying because they never heard those things or they don't hear them usually. And that's okay. That's just who I am, right? But if I didn't have the fortitude to stick with who I was and continue to grow in my communication, I may have, ran away from communicating with other people because of the reactions I got from people, and especially in my relationships. So based on if your guy is different or thinks a certain way or thinks differently from everyone else, he may be super strict in what he says and doesn't sugarcoat things, or he may be a scientist and nerdy a little bit and says things in a different way and he got different reactions that he did not like. Or people misunderstood what he was trying to say because of who he is. If your man went through that, he may want to avoid communication or not communicate at all with you because of the things he went through. He doesn't want to be embarrassed. He doesn't want you to think anything differently or think he's weird or something. And he doesn't want you to run away because of how he thinks or how he communicates. So in this instance, your man may know how to communicate, but because of all the misunderstandings that he had in the past because of what he said, he may shy away from communicating with you. The next sign that your man may be struggling with communication and communicating with you is if he has emotional withdrawal. If there is any time that you're being emotional with your man or talking in a way and emotions come up and you start to drop tears or your facial expression starts to change or your body language changes and he freezes up, that may be a sign that he's not too in tune with how to communicate and express himself in order to not only just help you in that situation, that emotional situation, but also how he wants to express himself by what you said. And it doesn't have to be sad. Sometimes you could be super happy for your guy. He just accomplished something super dope, graduation, a certificate, a raise, whatever it is. And you're showing all your happiness for him, your congratulations, your emotions, and it seems like his energy isn't matching yours. That doesn't mean he's a bad person. It doesn't mean he doesn't care. It may be because he doesn't know how to express his excitement too. Everyone expresses themselves in different ways. But the problem with this is it may discourage you as his girlfriend, as his woman, to further be emotional with him in the future. Because it's human nature to want your energy to be matched by your partner, by your man. Because why would I be giving out all this energy if you're not gonna match it? It seems unbalanced, it seems unfair, and it seems like a waste of time. But just remember this, it may just be because he doesn't know how to express himself. And then you got these men out here, some of these guys who just feel like they have to be manly all the time. So now they're trying to match this manly aura and trying to hold their manhood through their personality and their expression when they're seeing how emotional or happy or whatever it is you are to them. So they're trying to maintain this manliness, yeah. But what it may be doing is blocking y'all emotional bond between y'all two. So yes, emotional withdrawal is another sign that your man may be struggling with communication. Let's go to the next one. Defensive behavior. This is the one. And I know a lot of y'all been through this. A man who gets defensive about anything you say to him. It could be positive criticism, it could be a suggestion. He just finds a way to be defensive about it, or even confrontational. And not with just you, but with anyone. It may be because he does not know how to communicate how he's feeling, what he's thinking, how to bounce back off of your feedback. Because the go-to for a lot of people, especially men, is to get defensive when they don't agree with something, when they feel like someone could say something better, or when they don't understand something. And sometimes even the unknown brings out uncomfortability in a man. Someone who is always defensive, a man who is always defensive, is a huge sign that he's using a defense mechanism to protect himself from feeling vulnerable. Because once again, you want to hold this manliness all the time, right? That's what a lot of men think like. Or they don't want to feel exposed. They don't want to expose themselves. They don't want to expose their real selves to you, which is a whole nother problem. That's problematic. You can't be in a relationship if you're not going to show who you truly are, but then expect her to do the same for you. Big problem. And the last thing I want to bring up, the last sign that your man struggles with communication, and this is another big one, is a man who uses limited verbal expression. Word up, word, you right, yeah, word. True, yeah, true. Oh yeah? Dang. Open your mouth and talk to me. I know a lot of y'all say that, because it was told to me at one point in my life too. A man who struggles to find the words to say. A man who feels like they need to say the perfect thing all the time. A man who struggles to find the right words to say in his perspective. Or the man who just stays silent when you are talking to him is a man who struggles with communication. You can even ask this man like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? And he will say those same things that I said in this point. Yeah, I don't know. Instead of taking the courage to just say whatever comes to his mind, some people are afraid to do that because they don't want to sound wrong. So if you notice your guy using minimal words, instead of trying to just put out full sentence, give me one full sentence to start off. Let's start with that, right? It's a big sign that he struggles with communication. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it makes sense to some of y'all. I know some of y'all go through this, and I know some of y'all deal with men like this. Don't ignore it. This may be a starting point for you to work on it with your man. This is gonna make him better. Y'all could take classes, y'all could see somebody, like y'all could practice between yourselves. But it also might be a right thing to express how you feel about his communication if you are noticing these things. Because it makes him better, therefore it makes y'all better. Don't ignore it. Alright, so this is your guy, Sealz the Man, breaking down and understanding the mind of men, dudes, decent guys. Spread love is the human way. Peace and blessings. See you on my next video. Goodbye.